Ladies and whoop, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? We're back for this Saturday night. Saturday night for you guys. Sunday Mother's Day for us here in Australia. Hold on. My microphone seems to be there we go. That's better. Good to see you all. Back again. Back again for I don't know. What are we doing? Oh, true crime. That's right. That's what we always do here. Good to see you. What are we going to talk about tonight? The Idaho. So Kohberger, they did a Dateline special last night. Pretty interesting, and I wanted to show you a couple of bits of it since the trial is coming up to this one. Pretty good episode. I like Dateline. It's one of the shows I try and watch throughout the summer. When they have their new season on, and I try and tune into it most weeks. They have very interesting cases. Also tonight, some random updates. We have a new Othram solve. They solved a case from like 1953. 1953. It was a really good one actually. This teacher had gone missing. They had no idea what happened to her. Her husband was away for he'd been away for work, and he came home and his wife was gone. And I know everyone's like, oh, that's probably the husband. It's probably him. He set up a hitman and the husband killed the wife. But according to this, he died in 2018 and he was never a suspect in his wife's disappearance at first. And they ended up finding her remains scattered over like a bunch of different beaches. It was really weird. It's a very strange story, but we'll talk about it. But I wanted to dip into the Kohberger thing. As you know, I've not done a ton of Kohberger stuff since the original like investigation back in what was it 2022, 23, whenever it was. I haven't done a lot of content on it because I feel like there's so saturated. Like, who cares what I have to say about it? But I thought the Dateline thing was interesting. To me, and what I find interesting about the Kohberger thing is what they detailed in this episode was the relationship between him and this other girl, this young Asian woman, and the sort of weird things that happened when they were together. They used to share an office, and then they, I don't, the feeling I got from the video is that she thought there might be something between them, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm reading it wrong at one point. And then she started piecing things together that had been really weird, like her house got broken into, someone rearranged all the things in her home. And so she called Kohberger to come and help her install a surveillance system in her home, only to later realize that, wait, hold on. That guy that I've been leaning on and sort of been like trusting as a sort of like, confident sort of thing. Maybe it was him. Maybe that guy's the guy that's been breaking into my home and rearranging my makeup. Like, that's a weird thing to do, right? Why would you break into a girl's house and rearrange her makeup? Sounds like a very OCD type of thing to do, right? You see it all in like, I've seen girls in their makeup. Some girls are good with it. Some girls are not. Some girls just leave it scattered all over the bathroom. Some of them like it all lined up in, different colors and things. But it's very strange, right? Like, that's not the first thing. If I was a sexual predator, that's probably not my first, point of call. If I break into my victim's home, even if they're not home, I could think of 10 other things I'd rather go and do that are just as creepy than rearranging her makeup. Yeah, very strange. And then she finds out that, she reports her suspicions to police later on after she sort of like connects all these dots of weird things that had happened after he's been arrested. So, where's our host? Well, you guys can't see my video. I can see me. Look, that's me right there. I can see me on my monitor. If you guys can't see me, I'm concerned that there's aliens or I don't know. But yeah, it was a good episode. some interesting new little bits of information, including that CCTV of the white car, of the little white car going in and out of the driveway. Hey DJ, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. It's nice to be on at a time where I can see all the people I love. It's been a bit funny for a few weeks. I've not been able to get on early enough to see everyone, but I hope you've all been watching the replay videos. They're there for you. They're made just for you guys. So all right, let me go over here. I think we have a very small clippet. If I can go here, yes. So this is from Dateline, NBC. This was the episode last night. Let me read out the full title. It is the episode on the 9th of May, and it is The Terrible Night on King Road. So we all know that's the road where this happened. Let's play this little bit of CCTV because I think this is very interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's go to full screen.
This video, obtained exclusively by Dateline, shows a white car on King Road in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th, 2022. At the wheel, the state will allege, was Brian Kohberger, making repeated passes near a house where minutes later 4 students were stabbed to death. Kohberger has pleaded.
That's it. That's all you get. 20 seconds. But yeah, so they show this CCTV of that white car, the Elantra. I don't know. I see a lot of people with strong feelings on either side of this case. You have one side that says there's not enough evidence here to convict someone of these type of charges, and there's people on the other side that said there's enough here to place him at the scene of the crime. It's going to be a very interesting trial to see what else they have. Now, they did talk a little bit about cell tower analysis. It's one thing I actually do know about that I can talk to you about. Their cell tower analysis, at least the bits that I've seen so far, I haven't seen all of it. I've only seen the bits that have been made public. I would hope there's more. The bits that I've seen already are very wide. They're not as precise as I would like to see them. I would have liked to see a lot more. Like we may find out a trial when they release the entire like FBI team one that they do. There may be more, but the couple bits I've seen, they're very like, you could just be like, oh, I don't know, some guy driving around. Like it's you need more than this to convict someone of quadruple murder. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm just saying that the bits I've seen so far have just been a bit like this. You could explain this away somehow, at least some of the evidence, not all of it. The DNA on the sheath, I think, is interesting. They did bring out an expert on this on Dateline, and they said while DNA on any object, you know, like the knife sheath, it's a great way of saying, hey, this DNA belongs to this person, but it doesn't tell you how it got there. And I was like, well, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I mean, that's somewhat true. I mean, it is a way of us identifying who that DNA belongs to. It doesn't fully tell us how it got there. Yeah, I think there's going to be multiple points here that are going to be contested highly. I see a couple of holes here myself that I would like to see sewn up a little tighter at trial. Danny says if they can't convict him, they can't convict anyone. There's a lot here that's freaking weird. I promise. Like there's a lot of circumstantial, a lot of things that lead up to these killings that are just like, what? Why would you do that? There is a lot of strange things. Your DNA is not on it. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are they going to call you up tomorrow and be like, it was you, Marlene Clausen. Sorry, Marilyn Landis. Marlene Clausen. They might call you tomorrow. They might. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Moonshadow says that finally made alive. I'm just saying that what we've seen so far is not exactly, I wouldn't say it was bulletproof, watertight, you know, smoking gun evidence. I would say there's a lot of things here that go with the prosecution, a lot, but there's some things that actually go with Brian. Like in a court of law, he'll be able to win a couple of these points, I think. Even though it may be right or wrong, he may not be able to. I am not going to go watch Grey. I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm not going to go watch Grey. I'm fine. Don't need Grey Hughes to tell me anything. Kathy Lynch says the DNA on the sheet does it for me. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not defense attorney or the prosecution. Amy 007 says we'll see. We will see at trial. We'll see. I'll be watching that trial very closely. So I wanted to actually hear what if you watched the Dateline, what you thought. I don't know what this means. Danny says, I'd say he's effed worse than any felon I've ever known. There is a lot of strange things. Like they also detail some interactions between people, like at this party. He goes up to his DJ and he gets in his personal space and won't let him, play music. And just some other odd occurrences. Like he tried to talk to this girl and they got talking about hiking because, like, I guess it's hiking country, right? And she was saying that he followed up this conversation that they had in person with a message, and it was really super formal. And he's like, I like doing that activity. I would like to participate in this with you at a later time. It was just very strange for something that you would, just hit someone up and be like, hey, we met last night. Yeah. What about that hiking? Like the language was just a bit stiff is what they were trying to say. Emily Narb says, I didn't watch Dateline. In my opinion, there is enough evidence. There's a lot of different things. I would agree. One of the things that got me, they talk in this thing, but it comes from Blum or whatever his name is, that guy that wrote the book. By the way, I can't say I read the book. I read his book. Yeah, sure. It was all right. I would say some of his antidotes are, he talks about this anecdote that he hears about when Kohberger is staying with his family at Christmas, and that one of his sisters talks to their father and says, like, Brian's acting really weird. Maybe he could be involved in this killing. I mean, that sounds like what we'd say is like third-hand information, unless that guy was actually there. Retired RN says, hey, Ping, and all the great people in chat. Good to see you. Amy 007 says, I haven't watched it yet. It's not on my to-do list. What, the Dateline? I like Dateline. Rachel says, I know what I hear from locals and what is out there. You're behind on the stream. Look, I didn't want to talk about this too much anyway. I just wanted to show you the video and have a bit of a chat about it. Maybe the dog did it? No, I don't think the dog did it. I don't think dogs can hold knives. Can dogs hold a knife in their mouth, maybe? Can a dog stab someone? I don't think so. Maybe your dog can. Danny's dog could probably do it. I reckon Danny's dog is probably a secret ninja who probably kills people on command for Danny. I reckon that's how that happens. The other thing I want to talk about is the Google searches. Here, I want to bring these up. I wanted to talk about these because these remind me of another person. Oh my God, a cat. Hey, what are you doing up here? Hi. No, you can't be part of the show. We're working here. There is a cat. I don't know if you can see him. Here. Hey. Where'd you come from? Yes, it's a microphone. You've seen it before. There's a cat. Hey, hi cat. What are you doing? Hey, Muff. What are you doing? You can't be part of the show, all right? We've got important work to do. All right? We've got to do true crime. Okay? Where do you want to go? There's no room for you at the moment. You can't sleep on Daddy's lap. Why do you always want to sleep on Dad's lap? What are you doing? Oh, you want to go behind me? I don't think there's any room, bud. You can go there if you want. Yeah, I don't know, he's being really clingy today for some reason. Ancha. There he is. He's hiding behind my back. All right. Yeah, your supervisor is checking that we're working properly. That's right. He's like, Daddy, make all that money so we can buy more cat treats for me. He wants cat treats, probably. You keep saying Muffin wants his own show. We need like a Muffin webcam. Oh, he's got a bed that's sort of over here. You guys can't see it, but he normally is like hiding over here. I don't know what he's up to today, or what he's looking at. What are you looking at, sir? Hey, I don't know what he's looking at. He's looking at something over here. All right, you can stay there, bud. Let's talk about these text messages. So they describe these on the show, and I think I've got a little video I can play you. All right, let me take you to E, and hopefully I can. Yeah, I'm gonna just want you to listen to some of these words, and tell me who this reminds you of.
Kohberger made online inquiries for pornography with the words, quote, forced, passed out, drugged, and sleeping, per the phone data. But that's not the only activity discovered by law enforcement on his cell phone. In court documents, authorities said they found a selfie of Kohberger, quote, taken from his phone on November 13th, 2022, only hours after the homicides at 10:31 a.m. In the photo,
So they do talk about this photo on the Dateline too. They say this happened just after the killings, and they had like a psychiatrist or psychologist on the show, and he was saying that this is supposed to be like an inner representation of someone who is now fulfilled and happy with themselves, and that's why they're giving the thumbs up. I don't know if I buy that, but I will say it's a weird selfie. He looks like someone. Do you know what he looks like in this photo? He looks like someone who sells, items door to door, like like a vacuum salesman. And he's like, "Yes, I have to be back at the office at 3 because we have to pick up more stock for Hampton. We have to go to Hampton and drop off more stock." There's people that drive around and do sales every day. That's sort of what he looks like in this photo with the earbuds and the white shirt. But you hear some of these search results: forced, sleeping. They remind me of Rex Human. They remind me some of Rex Human's naked lady searches. That's what it reminds me of for this. Very similar, about control. Rex Human was a bit more tortury, but had a lot of control elements too. Kohberger, if true, and they're saying it comes from the evidence, very similar, all about control, the victim, that type of thing. So I picked up on that pretty quickly when I was watching. I was like, it's interesting that it is very much like Rex Human, and they both had a penchant for killing young women. Well, one of them allegedly, the other one allegedly. They're both going to trial. So Moonshadow says they're comparing it to the Ted Bundy photo. He did seem to have some sort of fascination with Ted Bundy. They talk about in the documentary how he kept reading a paper that was done by a professor at the school that did a paper on Ted Bundy. I think that he's not really anything like Ted Bundy to me. I mean, some of his, if this is an homage to Ted Bundy, fine, but he himself is not Ted Bundy. Doesn't look anything like him, doesn't have the suave and charisma that a lot of people say that Ted Bundy did have. Even though he hated women, he was very good at talking to women and things like that. He was very good at manipulating them, like with his voice and getting them to lower their guards and stuff like that. I find that this guy Brian just doesn't have that. You hear this interviews with people who have met him and been at parties and that, and he came off as like the awkward, weird guy who didn't know how to talk to anyone, yet alone girls. And it doesn't remind me too much of Bundy as such. He has in his offending, I think he does, but not as a person. I think as a person, he's not really. Nanalana says, "I like eagles and wish he didn't look like one by the heavy brows." Okay, I don't know what that means, but I agree with you. Rachel said, "There seems to be a lot of coincidence with this guy. Then you add the DNA and the secondhand stalking. I think he's guilty. We'll see what happens. Yeah." The birthing hips thing is strange. So that's the girl he went on a date with about, what was it, like 5, 7 years ago? And he's like, "Do you want to go to the movie?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." And they went to the movies, and then apparently afterwards he invited himself into her home and then made a comment about how she has birthing hips. Not the panty dropper that I would really expect the guy to try and pull out if you're in a girl's home. You have birthing hips. I think that would, it's like this. The legs are going to close very quickly. They're, no girl's going to give you anything if you say something like that. They're just going to be like, it just ended. It ended right there. Any chemistry that was there, it's gone. It's disappeared. It is dried up for today. It is gone. Emily says, definitely socially awkward. Yeah, I definitely think we see some evidence that he definitely has problems with like social interactions or social cues with people, and doesn't have those type of skills to be able to, chat up a girl, get a girl to, well, he got home to the girl, but he didn't get to the next part. She was too freaked out. So he seems to be stunted in that sort of area. He doesn't really have that. What did Kathy say? I don't know. Have we? I don't think we've heard a ton about from his childhood. A little bit here and there. We've heard from people who grew up with him and things like that. I would suspect that he had a heroin addiction, didn't he, at one point? And he was quite a big guy. From what I remember about this case, he did heroin for a period of time, and then he got clean, and he lost a lot of weight. Apparently, he was quite a bigger dude, and then started taking a bit more care of himself and got thinner. But I'd say that he's been troubled for a lot of his life. Let's see. Yeah, at that Christmas thing, his own sister said that she was like, "Why is he sorting his rubbish with gloves on?" That is a very odd thing to do. Although I will say, some people with OCD do weird things like that. Yeah, some people with on the spectrum do things like that. It's not weird. I think I shouldn't have phrased it like that. It's just different to other people. That was a bad word. I shouldn't have said weird. It's just different to what other people do. Some people do it because they have a fear of germs, or I don't know, they have to have their rubbish done in a certain way, otherwise it drives them mental. Like, there's all different reasons. But yeah, he turned to vegan diet. Yeah. His defense attorneys have a tough job. Considering his defense attorneys have lost almost every motion that they've put through so far, I agree with you. I think they've got an uphill battle here. Texas says, "Hey everyone, hey, how are you?" No More BS says, "I want to know what he talked to his dad about from any conversations after the murders. They lasted for a long time. They're in a car for what, like hours driving back to the parents' property. What did they talk about?" It's very. And the other thing too about how he kept getting stopped on the highway. I know that's not a giant point in this case, but I find that strange. Like, if it was me or you, and we got stopped on a highway, and the cops like, "Hey, look, we're doing sort of like a public safety campaign right now. We're trying to get people to leave more room between, trucks and cars and things like that. Too many accidents from people like tailgating." You would think that you would modify your behavior, right? You would be like, "Oh shit, the cops, oh, they're watching me. Oh my God, I'm going to leave more room between me and the car in front." And the fact he got picked up again, like within hours of the same offense, is interesting to me. That he didn't understand that you need to modify your behavior. Jaybird, hey, good to see you. He's autistic. They can be quite quirky and difficult socially. Yes, that's why I said it was wrong to say the word weird. That's not the right thing to say. Just different to maybe what some other people that don't have these spectrum disorders do it. That, it's not nice to say that. Shouldn't say weird. No matter his crime, you shouldn't call him out if that's what it is based from. It's not cool to do that. No more BS says, I think the defense attorney likes defending him. She'll be recognized forever as serial killer's murder trial. In my opinion, he's guilty. I don't know. I want to see the evidence at trial, like all of it. I want to see everything they have. I've seen a lot of it already. I also want to see justice for the 4 victims. I think that's a horrific death. These kids having the time of their lives should have just been like every other college kid and had their college days and gone off and gone into the big wide world. Like, it's very, very sad. I remember when this happened, and then the story came out about how he was stopped on the way home, and even I was like, they were trailing him 100%. Like, these stops were just the cops checking up on him throughout the trip, but they keep saying no, it's not. They keep saying no, it was random. It was just they picked him up on his behavior. But when it first happened, I was like, no way. They were following him all the way home, but they keep saying even today that they didn't do that. So Danny said there are folks who still say OJ was innocent. Wow. I can't help people that can't use their own critical thinking. I mean, anyone who goes off and writes a book that says if I did it, or whatever it was called, I can't help you. I can't help you. Although some of the theories in the OJ case are really interesting. I don't think I've ever done a show on it, but there is actually a pretty decent theory out there that could explain a bunch of it. I'm not a conspiracy person, but there is one theory that I actually think is plausible, but I don't know enough about it. Danny says they are allowed to lie. Police? Yeah, they can lie to you. They can say whatever they want. They can tell you the moon is blue, even though you can see it is yellow. They can say whatever you want. They have no obligation to tell you the truth. They can say that the guy in the next room is saying that you did it all, and you should tell us now because he's giving us all the information. They'll tell you whatever they need to get the job done. Cops don't have to tell you the truth. I know that that's what they're saying. I personally always thought that they were trailing him. They just didn't have probable cause at the time to be considering him. They were waiting for that DNA. Shebe says I'm going to watch the Lucy Shimmers movie. What is that? What is Lucy Shimmers? I don't know. Early show tonight. Danny Mitchell says I don't do conspiracy theories. Me either. But it was just an alternate theory to the OJ thing, and I was like, well, it's probably the only one I've ever heard that was at least 1% plausible. Yeah, hi retired Oren. Shareback, come back in 20 minutes. We're probably going to be talking about the Othram thing in a minute. Anyway, I just wanted to catch up on this and see what you all thought, because I love when Dateline does stories. I love it. Like when they did the Daybell one and things like that. I like their series on the Daybell trials and stuff like that. Let's see. All right. I think that's it. I think they're the only points I really wanted to talk about. The rest of it's just minutia. We've heard a lot of this stuff before. Yeah, there were the 2 big ones. I think that that and the girl, the young Asian lady. I think some more information about her was quite interesting. I asked a question though. This is what I ask. We all think that he had a fascination with women and not being able to get any from women, right? We've all heard that theory, I'm sure, about Kohberger, or I guess it's a fact. I would say this. It's interesting that he worked in close proximity with this Asian girl, and he basically had her on a string for a long period of time. It sounded like she probably would have been into it at one point, not later on, but earlier on. But he didn't buy into it. I find that strange. I find that a little odd. He's so desperate to get these girls to like him and interact with him, but he has this other girl that works in his office. They share a lot of time together, a lot of space together. think she even slept over at his house one time, and you don't hook up with her. I mean, we all have preferences, I guess, but if you're hard up and you're not getting any attention from any of the other women on campus, I mean, I find that a little odd when you were so interested in the girl you went on a date with one time, but the girl you spend every day with that shown even a modicum of interest in you and you don't buy into it. I'd like to know more about that. Kathy says, do you think he wanted a popular college girl? I do. I think he wanted the blonde or brunette, like the real stunning, 21-year-old, like the ones that were murdered, like the really, really hot ones, like, the ones you go, oh, geez, colleges are doing well these days. Those type of ones. Kaliza says, hello, Ping and everyone. Happy weekend. Happy weekend to you. Happy Mother's Day. To any mothers out there in America, which is tomorrow for you guys, but here in Australia, it's today. It's Mother's Day down here. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. You do a really hard job, and sometimes I think it's a little thankless. And I think people don't understand how much you guys keep your families together, keep them running, work. A lot of you work and do the family stuff and things like that. And sometimes I think it's a little bit of a thankless job. And I think hopefully on this one day each year, all the attention can be on you. So I hope you have a great Mother's Day, and I hope your kids lavish you with attention. I hope they do. Including Will. Will, if you're out there, I will say it again. I posted on Twitter last night. Call your mum and buy her some flowers and some cream of wheat. You can maybe get one that has a little card on it, and you can send it to her, and she'll be so happy. She'll be like, oh my God, Will remembered Mother's Day and sent me cream of wheat. Maybe she'd be really happy with that. I think she'd be actually, I think your mum, and I know your mum, I've known her for half a decade. I think she'd just love if you called her and told her how much you loved her, because I think your mum just loves phone calls from you. So that would be nice. That would be nice. Yes, don't forget Trish. That's right. Don't forget Trish. Will, call your mum, tell her how much you love her and how much she does for you, because I'm sure she does a lot for you, even being far away from you. So she is a nice lady. She is a nice lady. She deserves lots more thanks than she gets publicly from people. Diane says, happy Mother's Day to all. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Will remember. I hope someone out there who has better connections to Will than I do is prodding him. Nah, he'll remember. He knows. Everyone call your mama. Yeah, call your mamas and tell them that how much they have done for you, and I know mums can be annoying sometimes, and they're all on your ass about stuff, but comes from a good place that is sometimes annoying. Comes from a good place that's sometimes very annoying, but they just want the best for you. So call them up, send them something nice, send them out to whatever their favorite thing is. If they like pottery or something, buy them a gift voucher to go to pottery or something. If they like, I don't know what they like, maybe they like true crime, buy them a book about how to cut up bodies. I don't know, whatever they're into. But be nice to your mum. His wife will remind him, probably. Lee, hey Lee, how are you? I just finished watching this Dateline on Peacock. The timeline was outstanding. Yeah, they do a good job. I haven't had a chance to watch the they have a breakdown one that they do afterwards, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. But it was a good episode. Good episode. Like I said, the crossover between Kohberger, the naked lady searches on his computer, and how Rex Heuermann, who also viewed women in a similar way, had very similar crossovers. Not exactly the same, but the themes are very similar. All about tying them up, or control, or sleeping, or unconscious, or stuff like that. And it's interesting that it runs between both of them. Very different cases, very different MOs of how they do things. but their sort of minds and what they are looking for is very, very similar. They want to dominate these women for whatever reason. Maybe they can't do it in real life, so they fantasize about it and watch these videos where these women are being degraded. Maybe that is what, lights their fire is the word I'm going to use. Trisha needs a new laptop and her mouse pad badly. I thought her camera looked really good the other night. Maybe she just looked really good, but I thought her camera looked really good. Was she using her mobile now? Her camera looked really good. I thought she looked really nice. And her audio quality was really much better than it used to be. She got a new microphone, I know that, which worked really good. Incel mentality, sadly. I think people often just jump to the incel thing. Not saying that Kohberger isn't. I just don't think Rex Human. Hold on, guys. Hey, sorry about that. We had a courier come down, and I was like, I have to run to go get it because they're impatient. They're impatient. They don't like to wait. Yeah, hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate that too. That would help ping out very, very much. I'd appreciate it. Elliot Roger as an incel, yeah, I think we all know that. I don't think Rex Human was an incel. I just think there's a difference between people who have this incel thing and then people who want to degrade women and kill them. Doesn't make you an incel as such. There has to be other behavior attached to it to be able to make you that. And I just don't think Rex Human is that. Rex Human is just a guy who liked abusing women and controlling them for his own satisfaction. That doesn't automatically make him an incel. An incel has to have a specific ideology attached to it, and you have to be able to prove that. Kohberger, kinda, there is a lot there that I think you could place into that basket. Rex Human, no, I don't think that's it at all. Rex Human was able to marry, have children, and still meet women outside of his marriage. Kohberger seemed to struggle with all of those things. Not some of them because of his spectrum disorder, some of them because of other things. It's a hard thing. I say that it's not always black and white with that type of offending. Rachel says, that's what I think, and lots of people in Moscow. What did she say? I wonder if he believed these girls snubbed him. They probably did. They probably did. These girls probably had the attention of many men, many college guys, and I think your chances of probably meeting and hooking up with one of these girls is probably very, very slim. Even for just anyone else not named Kohberger, probably pretty slim because they get a lot of attention. A normal person, like that doesn't have these type of, you know, issues would understand that it's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. You want to go after the prettiest girls in school, your chances of hooking up with them are like 1%. Like they get a lot of attention, they get a lot of offers, they get a lot of dates, that type of thing. Your chances of that are probably like minuscule. And most people would understand that, like, your percentage chance is probably pretty low. But some people don't see it like that. They just see it as a yes or no, very black and white. They just see like, oh, she doesn't want me, so she's a bitch. Like, no, like most people that have a brain can understand that it doesn't work like that. But you know, maybe he just thought that because a few girls said no, that meant that all girls don't like him. Ping is of the opinion that there is love for everyone, and you just have to find it. And it may not be with your, like, you know, for some people they may be looking in the wrong areas. You know what I mean? Like they're just looking in the wrong places for what they're looking for. So, yeah, the Papa Roger Reddit. Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about. It was his side hustle for Rex. What, meeting girls? Yeah, I think so. Penguin said they assume that nobody wants them, although many of them have never even asked a girl out, since they're so sure they'll breed, reject, or get rejected. Life is a gamble. Everything about life is a gamble, and I'd rather have the mindset of every no get you closer to a yes than to just be like, nah, they all hate me. But I am probably not the best person to ask. I've never really had an issue in that area. I've met women all my life, so I don't really have that problem. So I don't know what that would be like. But I can imagine if you were unable to do that type of thing, it might be very frustrating. It might be very hard, especially if you're wanting that type of attention or something. It must be very difficult. Marlene says it's easy to blame others for your own shortfalls. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing I might be what these people call a Chad, who doesn't seem to have these problems or ideology that they seem to have, which I don't think I am. I'm quite a shy guy. I don't talk to people very easily, but I understood from a young age that if you want to talk to girls, you're going to have to talk to girls, and that's just how it is. Like that's just how the world works. If you want to have female attention, then you got to make it happen. They're not going to come find you because they got the same sort of feelings. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy. What if he doesn't like me? They got the same thing. So you got to go out of your comfort zone. So I understand. DJ said there's a country western song by Johnny Lee, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Place. That's right, there is. There's a song. I know that song. Marilander says to be socially inept. Yeah, I mean, I think if you could all see teenage Ping, you would have a very different image of who I was. A very different guy. Very different, very shy, very you know, not as confident as I am today. Not as but that comes with age, experience, stuff like that. I think that's common for a lot of young people. Curls get the girls. I don't have any curls anymore, man. I used to when I was younger. Ask Mrs. Ping. Mrs. Ping will tell you that I used to have really curly hair. I don't have it anymore. Do I? It's more straight now than it used to be. I used to have really curly hair. When back in the day, back when I was like 20 or something, I used to have really curly hair. It's not as curly anymore. Little bit. It's a little bit curly these days, but not as much as it used to be. Middle school, everyone is socially inept. That is probably. Lee says super handsome guys can be too high maintenance. I don't know. I've never dated any super handsome guys. I'll let you know when I do, and then I'll tell you if I believe they're high maintenance or not. I have no idea. Mrs. Ping, any comment on that one? She said no comment. Super handsome guys. And wait, what? Are you talking about me? What other guys did you date that were super high maintenance? Am I high maintenance? I'm pretty chill. Yeah. I'm pretty chill. Well, yeah, super handsome guys are high maintenance. Yeah, I'd say. Well, I think some of the really hot girls are really high maintenance too. I think it runs. I think that river runs in both directions. I think it runs in both directions. I really do. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Everyone's laughing at you or laughing at me. Laughing at me because of you. Amy 007 says, if a man is prettier than you, move on. That's right. That's why you haven't seen Mrs. Ping, but she's way better looking than me. Way better looking. We always just say she's the pretty one, and I seem to be the one that can do other things like computers and stuff. She's the pretty one. All right, let's move on. No more Kohberger. I'm over it. It's literally been done to death. So many channels that run the freaking Kohberger crap every day. I'm just like, how do you keep getting viewers come back every day? Like, it's so boring. But I enjoyed the Dateline. Give it a watch. All right, I have a better story. I want to talk about this one if I can find it. No, actually, let's talk about this. Just so we have a break from talking about crazy stuff for a minute. I saw the. I went on the internet and I found this. If you're a Top Gear fan, did you see this? In South Carolina, at a petting zoo, a kangaroo killed a man. Killed a guy. Guy went into the enclosure. Kangaroo beat him to death. Says that he was found with multiple blunt force injuries. I'm not laughing because it's very sad. But he was found inside the enclosure containing wallabies and kangaroos. The Australians are fighting back. They don't want to be caged any longer. They want to be released. They don't want to be in a petting zoo, and they're fighting back. They're rising up. They're trying to fight and get home to Australia. Run, buddy, run. Run from the law before they get you for murder. Run home to the colony. Run home to the island. The guy's name is Eric Slate. He was 52. He was found just after midnight early Saturday morning with multiple blunt force injuries inside an enclosure containing wallabies and kangaroos at Five Star Farm. According to the Horry County Police Department, they're still waiting for an autopsy. I'm not sure what they're expecting to find in that autopsy, but maybe an Australian flag. Maybe that's what they'll find. I'm not sure. But why would the kangaroos beat him up? I don't understand. Why was he in there late at night? Yeah, I wouldn't enter. I'm Australian. I see kangaroos every day, and I wouldn't hop in an enclosure with a kangaroo. They are vicious. They will literally beat the crap out of you. They are so strong. I'll show you why kangaroos are so strong. Hold on. Kangaroos are jacked. They spend all their time pumping weights. That's what they do. They do weights and cardio and bounce on their tail, and they're jacked. Would you want to hop into an enclosure with that? Ping's a pretty big guy, 6 foot tall, pretty large male. I don't want to do that. I'm going to pass on hopping into the enclosure with a kangaroo. I don't really want to do that. They are vicious, man. They are not fluffy animals that you pat and have fun with. Like, they are mean. They will beat people. I've seen them grab animals like dogs, like pets, and do all sorts of things. Like, they are very, very, they don't like people messing with them. Rachel says, why was he in there late at night? That doesn't sound very smart unless it was an emergency of some kind. I have no idea. Yeah, two roos fighting are pretty full on. So from what I understand, his brother owns that petting farm. his brother owns the property. So why he was in there, I'm not sure, but his family owned the 5-star petting zoo. I don't know. I wouldn't fight a kangaroo. They get pretty tall. I think over 6 foot tall. They get pretty big. Marlene says Darwinism. It is a little bit Darwinism. Chipmunk says, I got a pet baby kangaroo so soft, do not mess with the adults. You have a baby kangaroo? Like a real one or like a stuffed one? Lindy says, why would they have a large kangaroo in a petting zoo? Don't they usually have younger, small animals? They said they had kangaroo and wallaby. So wallaby are like a different species, but they're like a little version of a kangaroo. And kangaroos are kangaroos. They're like this. Marjorie said, don't they lean on their tails and kick with their legs? They do. They can do that. Oh, okay, to pat one. Okay, I gotcha. Context tonight. That's all right. That's all right. By the way, I'm going to have to ask Mrs. Ping about that high maintenance thing when we get off here. Maybe she thinks I'm high maintenance. All right. Maybe she thinks her other boyfriend is high maintenance. That's what I reckon. It's probably her other boyfriend, Pedro. He's a little high maintenance. All right. All right, let's go to the Othram story. I'm done with kangaroos. Let's go to the Othram story. That's not it. Hold on, guys. That's not it. I have too many links. I have too many links open, apparently. Hold on, I will find it. I was reading it. Here we go. Let's go to the LA Times. Let's head out to the LA Times. They're saying here, forensic testing links skull remains to Northern California woman missing since 1987. It's in Humboldt County. The Humboldt County Sheriff's announced earlier this week that a set of remains were identified through forensic DNA testing as belonging to K. Josephine Medin, who had been missing since the summer of 1987. I thought it was the 60s, but okay. 1987, she went missing. And they say Othram, a Texas-based forensic lab that specializes in genome sequencing that helps solve cold cases, used forensic-grade genome sequencing to construct a DNA profile of a sample that strongly suggests a link to Medin. And the story here is a little strange. Here's a photo of her right there. So they're able to give the name back to the remains of this woman. But the story's a little weird, and I'll tell you why. Here. So she was a teacher at a school and was last seen the 3rd of August 1987 when her husband Nicholas returned home from a work trip to find her missing. Her purse and other personal items were found at the residence, suggesting she had intended to return. However, despite extensive searches by local volunteers in the rugged terrain surrounding their home, no sign of the missing schoolteacher was found. That is, until several months later in November of 1987, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office received an anonymous package containing some of her skeletal remains. The package also included an anonymous letter directing investigators to additional remains near Almond Ridge Road in eastern Humboldt County, about 45 miles from her home. So someone mailed in human remains to the Humboldt County Sheriff and then told them where they could find more of them. Who does this? Who's like, oh, I found some bones. I should take these and put them in a package and mail them to the police. Why would you just not find a payphone even in 1987 and call the cops? It's a bit weird, right? It's a strange thing to do. But that's not the weirdest thing. They're saying here a death certificate was later issued for her in 1988, the year after she went missing. However, she remained listed as a missing person as there was not a complete body recovery. However, years later, in February of 1993, the Fortuna Police Department contacted HCSO to report the discovery of a woman's partial human skull found on a beach near Trinidad Head, about 100 miles from her home. The mysterious skull, however, remained unidentified until recent DNA testing confirmed its identity. And they're saying her husband died in 2018. He was never considered a suspect in the case, but her case is considered a murder. So someone mailed in remains not long after she went missing, but only some of them. Told them a location where more might be. They found a little bit more. Then, 5 years later, in a beach 100 miles away, they find her head. What happened here? Did someone cut her up? That's almost what it sounds like, right? There's only two things I can think of. Someone cut her up and disposed of her at different locations, or someone took her offshore and dumped her in the ocean, and as she decayed in the ocean, her body separated and then got taken by the tides to different beaches. That's like literally the only two things I can think of. Because otherwise, how would she get in separate places like 100 miles away? So it's either it came towards the beach or someone scattered it along the coastline. You reckon? So someone, to do that though, to be able to do that by 100 miles, they would have had to go offshore. Someone would have to be in a boat to be able to do that, to get her far enough offshore where their body could decompose, sink, break apart, and then get to another beach. It would have to be quite far offshore. So I find that so that's the two options, I think. Either someone cut her up not long after she went missing, dumped her along different places along the Californian coast, or someone killed her, took her offshore, and then dumped her in the water. It's crazy. And then someone posted her remains to the police department. Very strange. Yeah, poor lady. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it seems like there's two different possibilities. They definitely have classed her death as a murder. Yeah. They're saying they're still continuing to seek answers in her death. There's a photo of her, and yeah, they gave her name back, so she's got her name back to her remains, which is always nice. I like when that happens, but we don't know what happened to her or why she ended up out there. Chipmunk says, I hope there is family who's happy to get some answers. Obviously not the answers they would want. Yeah, it's a little bit of a double-edged story. It's sort of happy, but it's a little sad too, because there's obviously someone out there who did that. Yes, hit the like button, help spread the channel. Tell a friend about the channel. I would appreciate it. We're trying to raise that sub number up and try get to that 1,500 mark by the end of next week. That'd be really good. So if you haven't hit it yet, I would appreciate it. Laurie says, in my area, a 10-year-old girl got swept out in the river last week and she hasn't been recovered yet. Oh my God. It's always the saddest when people get like if they're at the beach and they drown or something like that. I always feel sad that their families may never find them and they sort of are lost to the ocean. Same with people who like their boats sink or whatever and they can't ever find the people. That always makes me really sad because what are you supposed to do with that? If you're part of that family, what do you do with that as a sort of memorial or whatever? Do you just go to the beach where they went missing? Do you just pay your respects there? Is that sort of what you do? It'd be a hard thing to have to process as a family. Very hard. But at this point, that's probably going to close her investigation. I can't imagine that they're going to do too much more with it, being that the husband is now deceased and there's only a few family members left, and they don't know of anyone, like they have no idea of a killer or who would want to kill her. So, will we ever find out what happened to her? Maybe. They need some information of like who, while her husband was away, who would want to go to her home? Was there a love interest? Was there someone stalking her from her school? Was there another teacher at the school who was infatuated with her, that wanted to have a relationship with her, but she was a married woman? Was it a student that used to go to the school? Maybe like there's a bunch of possibilities that it could be. Whatever it is, someone was very, very intent on her not being found. They did, they separate. Sounds like they separated her remains. So what was that place? So Humboldt County. So the first bit of remains were found 45 miles from her home. So that's where the first bit of remains were found, about 50 miles from her home. The second part of her remains that were found in 1993 were found 100 miles from her home at Trinidad Head. Let's have it's a promontory. All right, let's have a look on the maps. I wish Stacy was here because she knows this area really well. So part of her remains were found here at Trinidad Head, and you could see why. Let's see if we can zoom out. So if we go south, where do we end up? Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Humboldt County is like down here, yeah? Down in this area? Hold on, let me zoom out. Yeah, so Humboldt County is like up here, isn't it? Or is it further up? Yeah, no, it must be. So that doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that her head was found at Trinidad Head up here, and the first part of her remains were found further, like slightly further south. The way these onshore winds work, she would get pushed down the coast, not up the coast. It wouldn't normally be that like that unless you had a hurricane that was pushing up from the south that would move all the water north. Normally, with the way your systems work that move west to east in America, your onshore winds would push her into the coastline here. To travel even just this far down here, down to Humboldt Beach or Humboldt County, it wouldn't make any sense. The only thing I could think of is if they dumped her entire remains off this point, and it just took a long time for the head to be found, but then she was put off this point and got pushed further south, and then that's why it was found quicker than the part up here. But it's just a guess from me, knowing the way the weather and the water works. Because yeah, if where her head was found was further south, that would make more sense. But it doesn't make a lot of sense that her first part of remains were found down here, and they found the head up here like 5 years later. It's a little odd. Yeah, like I said, the only thing I can think of is that they dumped her off here, and for some reason, her skull laid undiscovered for 5 years. But the remains that actually made it into the water were discovered about 8 months later, after they got pushed onto the coastline. So that's Ping's opinion from me knowing how weather and water and the currents work. Because yeah, it'd be very strange to get pushed north. Normally, with the way the systems move in, it would get pushed down. Strange, very strange. Humboldt County is a druggy place full of riffraff, and we never went through there so many issues. At least what I understand as a teenager in the 90s. We got a missing woman out there that's been missing for over a year now. She went missing from her home. She'd been suffering from postpartum psychosis, and she's never been located. At least I don't think so. I haven't checked in a while. Missing Humboldt County woman, New Year's. Zoe Penrod. Did they ever find Zoe? No, I don't have an update on whatever happened to Zoe Penrod. That's very sad. I was hoping they were going to find her like pretty quick, but still over, what, a year and a half later, they have not located Zoe. Yeah, so Zoe had just had her first baby, and she'd been suffering from postpartum depression that then advanced into postpartum psychosis to the point that she was actually hearing voices telling her to leave the home and enter the forest. Her family had got her help. She had been in a hospital at one point receiving psychiatric care, but she had been released to her home near New Year's. And unfortunately, during that period, her psychosis came back. And her husband says while he went and attended to the baby, she ran out of the house and was never seen again. So, yeah, it's been over a year since Zoe went missing. And I still think about her often. I often think about where she is and have they found her? Have they tried searching again? But so far, not a lot of anything for her. It's very sad. I hope they find her. Yeah, do I have a photo of Zoe? I do. I like this photo of Zoe. The one where she's holding her baby. Hold on. It's not the greatest quality photo, but this is Zoe holding her baby before she went missing. So it would be nice to bring her home. It would be really nice to bring Zoe home. Lee says there was a nurse in New Jersey years ago who dumped her dismembered husband in 2 suitcases, who dumped them in the ocean in New Jersey. They washed up in Maryland. In Maryland? From New Jersey. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'd have to look at it, but yeah, I mean, sounds about right. Nanalana says, thank goodness she didn't leave with the baby. I know, right? Lucky that... Well, sort of lucky. I know. She just looks like a happy mom with a new baby. It is very sad. I hope they find her. They believe she ran into the forest that has the really big red... What do they call them? Like red trees or whatever? They believe she ran into that forest and they've not been able to locate her. Okay. So yeah, I don't know any more about Zoe Penrod, unfortunately. Wait, what happened here? Oh, okay. No, yeah, no new information. I thought when it said Attorney General, I was like, oh my God, they have something. But so this is Zoe here. She's been missing since New Year's Eve of 2023. So last year, like at the beginning of last year, she went missing on New Year's Eve, and they still have not been able to locate her. Yeah, the redwoods, like the really big ancient trees. Redwoods, okay. But yeah, so they believe she ran into the forest near there, and they've not been able to locate her. So it's really sad, really, really sad. Her husband is looking after the baby now, and the baby would be two, almost 3 maybe now, 2 or 3. So that poor child will unfortunately never get to know its mom. because I think we all believe that Zoe is probably most likely dead. She's probably deceased at this point. I don't think we believe that she is alive, unfortunately. Oh, sorry. That case makes me really sad. I want her to go home to her family. It's awful. All right. I want to take you out to the UK. Out to the UK. In the effing UK. I want to take you to the United Kingdom. Because there's a story that we did last year, and now we have more information. So apparently there was a body found on a bridge in Cordova, South Carolina. Hold on, let me check. No, Alabama. If you're in Alabama, apparently they found a body under a bridge in Cordova. Why is that related? Well, it's not really. It's not related to anything we're doing. But I just thought I'd tell you. Yeah, let me take you back to when this first happened, and then I'll give you some more details, okay? Let me take you to July.
A second suitcase was located nearby a short time later. Sadly, the suitcases contained human remains. An immediate search of the area was carried out by officers on the ground with the support of the National Police Air Service and His Majesty's Coast Guard, following the discovery of the suitcases. These searches remain ongoing. Our major crime investigation team has launched an investigation which involves specialist officers and staff from across our organisation. Our immediate priority is to locate the man who took the suitcases to the bridge, identify the deceased, and inform their next of kin. We are releasing an image of a man that we are currently looking for, which I should hold up now for you, and I will show afterwards. And I shall show this afterwards for you all. He is described as black with a beard. He was wearing a black Adidas baseball cap with a white motif, a black jacket with a motif on the chest, and black trainers with thick white soles. He is also believed to be wearing, or have been wearing, a gold earring and was carrying a black backpack.
So if you didn't catch that, there was these bodies that had been dropped on a bridge by someone that were in these suitcases. Well, we know a little bit more about it now. And when I first heard about this story in July of last year, I was like, oh my God, here we go again. Because we had just finished covering a case in Manchester about a man who had been chopped up and dumped in Manchester. And I was like, oh my God, this is all connected. Why is there more bodies showing up? But they weren't connected. They had nothing to do with each other. This case was just another very, very sad case. And I'm going to bring it up. If it will. Come on. Apparently my links don't want to work. Yeah, let's shut that down. Shut that down. Sorry, I'm just shutting down some links so we can actually do stories. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Oh, jeez. Sorry, ladies and gents. Here we go. So this comes from Gayla. Gayla actually gave me the update for it. The two men that were found in the suitcase are these two men on the right here. The man who is accused of dumping these people in the suitcase is on the far left here. The black man here on the far left. He is accused of killing these two men on the middle and right. And the story that it goes along with this was like nothing I could have ever envisioned. And you can see what it says here. I can't read this out in full, but I will read what I can. It says, suitcase remains victim had R-worded teen, according to what the jury had been told. They say a man whose dismembered body was found in a suitcase had R-worded and blackmailed a teenager. The remains of a man called Albert Alfonso, 62, and Paul Longworth, 71, were found in a suitcase and trunk left near the Clifton Suspension Bridge in Bristol in July of 2024 after having been taken there from London. The man on trial that you see in the picture above, his name is Yostin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He is accused of murdering and dismembering the two men. A witness told the court he had been blackmailed by Mr. Alfonso in exchange for sexual favors. Apparently, while giving evidence via video link, he said he had gone to Mr. Alfonso's flat for drinks after a rugby match and woke up with a banging headache. When Mr. Smith asked what happened, Mr. Alfonso showed him a video of himself performing sex acts on Mr. Smith. He says, "I didn't know what to do. I was mortified. At this point, I didn't know my sexuality. I was confused and scared." He says, "Being a black boy in London, gay, whatever you were, drunk or not, it didn't matter." He said Mr. Alfonso told him he was not going to show anyone, and if he did favors for him, the video would never be shared. This is the bridge here where the bodies were dumped. That is that suspension bridge. So this young man had gone back to this person's home after a rugby match, had his drink spiked, and the Mr. Alfonso had committed sexual crimes against him and videotaped it, and then proceeded to try and blackmail him into more sexual favors. And this is what he says led to him killing and dismembering them and putting them on the bridge in Bristol. Probably one of the most brutal stories I've ever heard in both sides of it, the murder and why it happened. They're saying under cross-examination, Tom Little KC asked Mr. Smith, "Does it cross your mind looking back that you were R-worded?" He says, "Yes," or "Now, yes." And it says, "And does it cross your mind that your drink may have been spiked?" the barrister asked. He says, "Now, yes." "Does it cross your mind that you were groomed by Albert Alfonso?" He says, "Now, yes." He said that Mr. Alfonso had told him that he was interested in black dominatrix fantasies and described fetishes involving master-slave dynamics. Mr. Alfonso would pay him about £150 for each sexual encounter, and that their meetings became routine and involved consensual acts. Mr. Smith said he would sometimes initiate contact when he needed money. There is a court sketch from the courtroom too. They're saying during the COVID pandemic, Mr. Smith said he became closer with Mr. Alfonso and started spending time with Mr. Longworth, going on bike rides with them and occasionally being supported financially. He told the court that when he was later introduced to Mr. Mosquera, Mr. Alfonso described him as a young man from Colombia who was staying with them while attending Ailing College. He said Mr. Alfonso claimed he was paying for Mr. Mosquera's travel and college fees, and that he told him he had a wife and child back home. I asked if he was gay or straight, and he said he was just doing it for the money. I said, "Great, so was I." He said the three had taken part in a sex session together the week before the killings. Describing the relationship between the two, the witness said it seemed good, very good. He was going to London with him and sightseeing. It seemed fun. I didn't see anything that seemed like they disliked each other. Speaking about Mr. Longworth, he added, he wouldn't hurt a fly. After the sessions, he would come and sit with us and talk with us. The trial continues. So it's a very twisted story between these three men. And it started off with what is accused to be a sex crime and blackmail that turned into some sort of transactional relationship that it's almost like grooming, though. Grooming that turned into transactional, using the money as a cover for the grooming that started as blackmail. So now we know sort of the background to why those bodies ended up on that bridge. It's worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some gang-related hit or something like that, and it was nothing like that. So let me see. Yeah, it's not consent. Not when you base it on grooming at the start. That just means that you're coercing someone over a period of time. Even if you do pay them, even if it does turn into somewhat consensual, the consent is based on grooming. So it's not really consent. No one's doing this with a clear mind as such, even though he says it was for the money later on. Yeah, apparently. I want to take you back to when this first happened to sort of just tell you and show you the scene of like this is really brutal when it first happened. I want to show you. I'm going to take you to Sky News back in July of 2024.
Yeah, so we were visiting my father, Roger Malone, who lives in Clifton, and we were visiting to watch the football game. We were very happy after the game. And my wife and I, Allison, and we walked downstairs to pick up an Uber, which we'd ordered on our phone. And we went down to the corner by the mall pub to meet the Uber, and waiting patiently. It was about 20 minutes or so. And after a few minutes, we noticed another man, a black man and a white man, carrying a suitcase across the street right towards us. And they were struggling with the weight of it. I actually thought they might drop it in the middle of the road. And I thought about going to help them, but something made me stop. And so they came over and they put the suitcase right by our feet. And I said to them at that time, I said, that looks really heavy. What have you got in there, a body? Jokingly, like you do, And we were feeling good, happy, so I made a joke. And they didn't reply. And then they just left it by us, and they walked back across the street. And I didn't really know, but I did notice a car across the street with the boot open, and I thought that's where they were coming from, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was looking at my phone, waiting for the car. And then they came back across the street with a third person, which was a female, about the same age, 25 to 35, white female, blonde hair with a ponytail. And she must have heard what I said, because she said, these are the heaviest suitcases I've ever lifted. I suppose there could be a body in there. And so, but she seemed like she was helping them lift it, and all three of them were struggling with it. And so our theory is that maybe there was something else in there, to provide extra ballast should they throw it off the bridge. Later, I'm thinking about it going back now, so, and maybe they were taking a taxi to avoid.
Anyway, this guy was a witness. He saw them saw the accused come up to the bridge, drop that suitcase there that had the body of the two men inside, and the guy just took it out of the cab and just dumped them on the bridge and left. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've dropped them off. I'm just going to leave now," and that's it. Now we're in trial for it, and we get to hear a little bit of the backstory of how and why this happened. It's really, really brutal. I can't say when I heard about the story, I really thought it was gang related, because it sounds like something a gang would do, like, very public display. The sort of like, when you chop someone up like this, normally it's for performance. You're doing it, especially dropping on a bridge like this. It's a performance. You're trying to show people, look what I did. There's I'm angry about something, or there's a message here. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is some sort of gang postcode war in London or something. But seems like it was some really, really bad interpersonal thing between the three men. And if the story is to be believed of the accused, he was victimized for a period of time, and then he decided he had enough, and if you believe his story, he decided to kill him. So there's their photo, by the way, the three men. Yep, there you go. So there's the three men. The guy on the just here, this guy here, this guy is the accused, and the other 2 are the men that were in the suitcases. So, hey, my friend, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Moonlight. Hey, good job, mate. Good job, mate. It's good to see you, my friend. You always have cute animals in your profile photo for some reason. Always cute animals. Let's see. Yeah, Rachel said this story is not what we thought when we heard about it. No. And when Gayla showed me the update, I was like, wait, what? That's what happened? I had no idea. I thought it was something completely different. I thought it was yeah, like I said, it was like something to do with like gangs or something like that. Because you often see that with them, but not yeah. I wouldn't have thought it was this type of thing anyway. All right. All right, guys. I think that's about it for me tonight. I've actually got to go do some Mother's Day things for my family. So I got to go. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. We're going to go see them. That's what we're going to go do. We're going to go have some afternoon tea or something. So I have to go do that. That's why I hopped on so early tonight to hang out with you all because I got to do that. Mrs. Ping sounds like she's getting ready. By the way, I have some people to thank. I wanted to thank my friend Betty C. I don't know if I got to do it the other night. I want to thank Kathy. Thank you so much for that. That really helps out. And Sean bought me a pizza. Sean, thank you so much. I have been eating quite a lot of pizza. Maybe I'm going to put on weight or something. Hopefully not from all the pizza I've eaten. You know, when I was in Morwell staying in there, I think I ate Red Rooster like 3 days in a row. It was so good. Because where I live, there's no Red Rooster. So if you don't know what that is, if you're not an Australian, Red Rooster is sort of like KFC. It's more like Popeyes or something. It's a chicken store, and they make really good food. And I was staying really close to one in Morwell, and every time I'd walk home from court, I'd stop in at the Red Rooster and get food because I was so hungry. I don't know what's going on. Every day in court, I've been getting out. I've been starving. I have no idea. Like I work all day on this, and when I'm not doing court and I'm not that hungry, go to court every day and I'm starving at the end. Must be like mental processing power, just overloaded. But hey, if you're here for the Aaron Patterson trial, we'll be back early next week. From what I understand, it'll be sometime early next week. I'm still waiting on confirmation of what we're doing and stuff like that. But trial will be back next week, and I will be there. I'll be back in the courtroom for week 3 of the Aaron Patterson trial, and we're getting close to the end. It'll couple more weeks or something, I think, and we'll be done. We'll be done with the Aaron Patterson trial. And the day of the verdict, I will be in the courtroom and I will be doing a live show outside of the court. As soon as we're done, I'm going to be loading up my live stream. I'll have stuff ready and I'll be going live like that. So look out for that. After the jury goes into verdict, I will get a message. So because I'm part of the media, I will actually get a message saying, hey, you have to come back to court. We've got a verdict coming in and we'll have to get our asses back to the courtroom pretty quick. So hopefully we'll be in the media room or something. I'll have to show up. Once they go into verdict watch. I'll probably have to stay in the media area for however long it takes. 2 days, 3 days, a day, 5 days, a week, who knows. But we'll be there for the verdict. Then I'll be on live. And then after that, we'll be doing a very long series breaking down the trial. So if there's a lot of things you wanted to ask, if there's a lot of things you want me to explain better, I will be able to tell you everything I know as soon as we get a verdict. I can start answering your questions about the Aaron Patterson trial. So yeah, it's been a crazy month. It's going to be by the time we get to the end of May, it's going to be insane. It's going to be a very busy month, and we've got more to come. We've got more things to do, And that's it. That's it for tonight. I think that was a decent show. Wanted to cover a couple of stories, and I hope all the mums out there have a great Mother's Day. If you're in Australia, take that day off. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday afternoon with your families, and I will see you tomorrow. So tomorrow, I don't quite know what we're doing yet. If I go to court, you won't see me till the evening. If I'm not going to court tomorrow, you'll see me for the sort of around this timeline, sort of around the same time. You'll see me for the late show with Ping. I am trying to find some opportunities to collaborate with other channels on the Aaron Patterson thing. I've put out some feelers to a couple of different people. We'll see what happens. I would like to cover this more in America. So if there's any American channels that would like some, reporting from the courtroom that I can tell you, then get in touch with me Sunday with Ping@gmail.com. Get in touch with me. I am looking for some opportunities to do some podcasts and things like that. So I've put a couple of feelers out to people I know, and we'll see what happens. Nanalana says, see you all later. This has been a good show. I hope it has. I hope it's been nice to be back in the chat where we can actually talk and not be so tied down. I hope that's been fun for everyone over the last couple of days. We'll be right back into that trial as of either tomorrow or the day after. And then we're back on the train. We're back on the train of court days. So I will see you then. I love you all. Have a great rest of your weekend if you're in Australia. If you're in America, have a great rest of your Saturday night. And I will see you tomorrow night for Sunday Nights with Ping at around 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. That number has slowly been going up, and I appreciate it. And I'll get you more courtroom information this week. You'll get more. I think as we've gone along, I've got more comfortable with it, and I've been able to like know where I've got room to move and stuff like that. When I first started doing it, I was just like, these are the words on the paper that I wrote today, and that's all you're going to get. But as I've gone through, I've been able to learn what I can and can't do. And so I think the reporting's gotten a little better this week. So hopefully by the end of the trial, we'll be really good at it. And then the trial will be over. And then I'll have to find a different trial to do reporting from. All right. Love you all. Lee says, I will ask Courtroom Confidential if they want to. Who's Courtroom Confidential? Who runs that channel? Hold on. Oh, Ritter. Yeah, it's Ritter, right? Yes, I know Joshua. Yes, I do actually know Joshua. But yeah, that would be a good one. I know him. You're welcome. You're welcome to all the people who are enjoying the coverage out of the Aaron Patterson trial. I appreciate it. We will be back next week for week 3, and you will be getting your updates in the evening Australian time out of that trial. And I'll be here. I actually have some contacts within Grizzly. I don't know if she's interested, but I do know some people that are close to her. I could reach out. I do know someone who is within her orbit is the word I would use. I do. It should be in the chat. It should be in the chat, my friend, my sweet friend. They're right here. I don't think I can copy and paste. I can't copy them. Oh, here, I can put him in the chat for people. If some people don't pay attention to the Nightbot, and I understand because it's on every bloody channel, and it's like background noise. But they're right here. They should. Yeah. Wait. Is it? Sorry. Let me fix that. Yeah, like that, and then like that. Oh, it just does it as like one thing. How stupid. There's no gap here between the HTTPS thing. Anyway, it's under the video too. I always post them. We just don't talk about donations a lot on the show. I think there's better things to do with our lives than have stupid YouTubers asking you for money. So I think we got content to do. I don't want to sit here and talk to you guys about cash or donations or whatever. Like I got other things to do. Be nice to Nightbot. They're doing their job. That's right. Lee says, surviving the survivor would be a good one after he finishes covering Diddy from New York City. Well, I'm putting the word out. I am looking for some collab opportunities for the Aaron Patterson trial. If you're a creator, if you would like to have me on your show after the trial has ended, to do some coverage, and I'll tell you what I thought, what I saw. Let me know. Reach out. I'm happy to look at all opportunities. So I love you all. I'll see you later. Have a great Mother's Day. Don't do things that Ping wouldn't do. You don't know what they are anyway, so just don't get arrested, maybe. All right. I love you all. Have a great day. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go do Mother's Day things. Bye.